Welcome everyone to the Reading to Heal Forum by Unicorn Insight. And we have Book of the Month. You can see messages from the masters behind me. And here it is too. So I'm just going to keep this is my sister's copy basically. So I've kept my book back in Mumbai. I just somehow I skipped carrying it, and I also knew I had this book. So but this is my sister's copy. And we have Neelam Sharma, my friend and co-founder, on this live. And we also have Naina. Naina, we are so excited to have you. And Naina has
Yes,
been, I
ma'am.
think, one of the most
Yes,
consistent people on this book club
yes.
Yeah,
Thank you
journey.
I'm
so
at
much, Naina, for joining.
almost the end of the book. Like
Fantastic.
Wow.
probably just this
Thank you
much
so
remaining,
much. Thank you so much.
this little
And
bit end remaining.
Naina,
How
and
to get this on the screen, huh?
and
Yeah.
Neelam, thank you for sharing those audios because it's so nice to hear them. We have it's a very interesting thing. We have three types of learners. There are people who read, who are visual people. There are people who listen, auditory, and kinesthetic are the ones who actually need a physical book. They need bookmarks. They need markers. They need to smell the book. And I'm sure on this readers forum there are all types of people. So Neelam's audios have been so good on the go. Sometimes I'm in the kitchen doing something and I listen to the audios. Sometimes I'm just out for a walk and I make sure that I listen. So that's been great. So thank you for your wonderful contribution. And I'm in fact, Neelam, I would like you to lead this because I know you have done this book more. And of course, Naina, very happy to hear. And I think we all three we will speak today. But I just want to share one very interesting fact about this book. May I share that?
Of course, please go ahead.
Okay. Okay, so one of the most interesting facts about this book is among the very first books I've read in my whole life. Okay, so my journey as a book reader began in 2008, and not before that. And it's very funny, but that's how it has been. The first book which I ever read happily, um, choosing to read it, was The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. And the second book which I chose to read on my own was Messages from the Masters. Okay. Now, now this book which belongs to my sister here because it is her book. But my sister had bought another copy way back in 2008, which just looks like the blue colored book which you both have. And she had bought all the books from Dr. Brian Weiss in 2008. And 2008 was the year she also got married. She kept all those books back in my parents' home. And I was not a reader at all. I was one person who would never read. In fact, in my family, there was this big thing that my sister used to read a lot and I would not read. And all the uncles and aunts would say, "Arey, ye books nahi padti hai. Badi wali to kitni books padti hai. To bilkul padti nahi hai." And I was like, I'm not interested in that. Although I was quite a studious child, I would say. But other than study books, I didn't read anything. I was never fond of it. Now, I was traveling from Mumbai to Singapore in 2008 November, and that was the time I just picked a book because I was going to travel all alone by myself. And I thought, chalo, book पढ़ लेती हूँ. Interesting lag raha hai, Messages from the Masters. I had no idea that this would be my favorite genre. So they say that everyone is a book reader. Only you haven't found your genre if you don't read books. And I had absolutely no clue that this was the genre of books I had to read. I picked this book up and I almost did not sleep on the flight. I finished reading half of this book, and it was so interesting. I came to Singapore and I finished rest of the book, and it had opened my mind to a lot of possibilities. I can't tell you. And now I read it now when I'm reading this book again after 15 years. This was 2008. We are in 2023 November again. And Neelam suggested this book in October when I was again going to fly to Singapore. And Neelam said, Ashwini, let's do Messages from the Masters. And I was like, wow, I think that's a very empowering book and let's do that. And again, we are here. So it's almost like life comes to a full circle. We
Yeah.
are on the book club. And again, I've picked up the copy which belongs to my sister because she forgot that she had those books back there in my parents' home. And all of those books automatically became my books, which were kept there. And I have the entire brand Weiss series too. And trust me, I mean, I feel it's a very powerful book, and um, I thought I'll just introduce you and I will leave over the next things to you, Neelam, and to you, Naina, because I think this is something which we can just talk more about. So, thank you for suggesting this book, Neelam. Thank you for putting it out. And Naina, thank you for always participating. And over to both of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ashwini, for sharing your wonderful experience. Actually, the book journey starts with an interesting incident always. So how I came, even I had read this book in 2008 only. And so first I read Many Lives, Many Masters, and it was an interesting book. And prior to that, I was always reading, novels, and I'm a good book reader. Like, I read everything. So if I get to read anything in Hindi, I will read in Hindi as well. So I have read all the books of Premchand, and all the poem collection of Ramdhari Singh Dinkar. I'm a big fan of both of them, and even many other Hindi writer like Nirala, Suryakant Tripathi Nirala, and I have collection of Gulzar's book as well. I am a big fan of Sahil Ludhianvi, and suddenly,
Wow, I didn't know this. And this is getting interesting. This is getting interesting because Gulzar and Sahir Ludhianvi is interesting. So, of course, we'll
yes.
keep that for some other day.
So I was in mall, and on a bookshop I saw this book, Many Lives, Many Masters. I don't know why this book kept on, attracting me. I just got it, I read it, and my husband said, all this is bullshit and nothing of this sort happens. So that means I have lived like 10,000 lives on this earth. And okay, so maybe I was your father in prior birth, or something like that. That's why you don't listen to me, you don't behave like my wife. All those things that happen between husband and wife. So, but I still kept on reading all these books, and the second book was this, and this book changed my perspective a lot. And at that time I was, going through a tough phase in my life, because I wanted to be mother and I was not able to conceive. There was a lot of negativity coming from all around, where people, doctors even said that you won't be able to conceive maybe. But this book, it kept alive the hope in me that anything can happen, and it's free will, and it's our, good intentions, and love is the core of everything. And when you become love, and when you ease out the hard feelings from yourself, you get lot of presents from the universe. And I would say that, my son came as a present from the universe, because I surrendered a lot. So I just, the book taught me to be in the flow and be happy always, whatever happens. And it's a it's a journey, it never ends. So once we take physical form, then we get into spiritual form, then again we can come, if we wish, if we have something left here, and then we can again become one with the god. So this book opened my mind to the thought of surrender and be in the flow. And once this happened, things start flowing in your life. So this happened with me, and that's why this book is so close to my heart. And when Kamal passed away, at that point of time also, I read this book. And again, that this book healed me at that point of time, because the book told me that he is there and he will always be there, and he is a crucial part of my journey, the way I am crucial part of his journey. So it's just the physical thing that has ended, but he is always going to be there with me. So that thought consoled me a lot, that thought pacified me a lot, and healed me eventually. So that's why this book is very close to me. And when we started to revamp the book club, as as a club to heal
Yeah,
people. So I just thought that this nothing can be better than this book, because I
absolutely.
have healed through this book
Yeah.
2 times in my life of crisis times. So yeah, so this is my story of this book. Again, a very beautiful book. And this time, third time, I have read this book, and every page is a masterpiece. When I read every line,
Absolutely.
I feel very much connected, and I feel like, getting a new perspective. So yes, this is a very beautiful book. That's why I recommend it. And Nana, thank you so much. When you bought this book, you just pinged me and said, "Okay, I have ordered my copy." And this book is indeed very good. I'm on chapter 3 or second chapter you were on at that point of time, and you
Yeah,
shared.
already. Yeah.
So, I mean, it gives so much of happiness that somebody is reading the book, and
Yes.
he or she is finding the book useful. So over to you, Nana. How you feel about this book?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was a voice note, or that was a big note you had left, right, in the group. And I was like in two minds, when this book was posted, because I had already bought three books. I am reading the 5 a.m. Club, I'm reading Ikigai, then there are two books kept here.
What is
Halfway
the
through,
other one?
every
The 5 a.m. Club, and the second one is
Ikagai.
Ikigai. Oh,
Ikigai.
nice. Wow.
Yeah. My daughter finished reading it. I'm not able to finish it. I keep, you know, pausing, coming back. And then I thought, बहुत books हो गए now, let me not read this month's book, because I'm already reading two, and I have two in the backlog also. So, but then when I read your note, I was like, नहीं नहीं ये तो करना ही पड़ेगा. This is like so convincing. I have to buy this. And then those books are still lying around. This is like almost done.
Wow.
So it's very beautiful. I mean, the first feel I got on reading this book was a feeling of calmness. Like every time I read it, I feel relaxed and calm. It's nothing like, for me, there is uh, nothing that I'm really seeking right now. Probably I'm not aware of it. Yeah, whatever I might be seeking, but this is definitely giving me a sense of calm.
Wow.
And then, there was something else you posted on the group, I think, those podcasts, I guess, the Mata Wala podcast thing, the
Hmm.
beer
Yeah,
biceps
yeah.
ka. Uh,
You are
so,
talking about Unicorn University, the main group, right?
yeah, on the
Yes,
main
yes,
group,
yes,
yeah.
yes,
So
yes.
that also started spiraling along with that. And then I got attracted to such podcasts on that channel, which have such similar content as this only, about rebirth and
Rebirth,
about
reincarnation.
the
And
And
these
that
spirit.
podcast
podcasts
is very
are
good.
masterpieces.
Yes, and I love the way he puts the spiritual aspect of things into
Especially the
place. And
spiritual concept. Yeah.
yes. So I
Yeah.
mean, really, that's and it's been coming to me of late a lot, these kind of podcasts. And to be
Mm,
very honest, I had to listen to one of the, like, the Mata podcast was phenomenal.
yeah.
Sorry, we are deviating a bit, but can I talk about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you
Okay.
know what? Monica introduced me to the channel.
Oh yes, yes, I know.
When I
Because
had
me and
come,
Monica,
yeah.
we talk a lot about that too. And
Uh-huh.
I was just talking to her this evening, and I told her about something I heard. And it's so amazing that um the way they have put out the ancient scriptures of India, the ancient history of India. I don't call it mythology. I find the term, unfortunately, I find the term very anglicized, and I call it I won't call it mythology. I would say that the ancient sacred texts of what the land of Bharat has always had, it's been put up so beautifully,
Yeah.
and the way the
Absolutely.
concepts are put. And for people like us, and also for the youth, I would say, for people who are in their teens or early 20s, for them to read this has been great. And coming back to what you said, Naina, yes, there are so many podcasts in which they talk about reincarnation, and about how your
Sadhana as well.
Yes, 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 absolutely. And how,
So I got drawn to very similar topics, very
hmm.
strangely. Like,
And that is,
the content is supplementing what's written in the
yes.
book.
And
Yes.
everything gets
So,
connected. Everything gets connected because I
mm,
remember Neelam और मैं बात कर रहे in the last week of October, and I was planning to come here and I'm doing my packing एक side में and I'm talking to Neelam. And Neelam says, Ashwini, shall we do this book? And it just clicked. Okay. And
mm.
my sister was also reading this book about a month ago, and she sent me a
Oh,
photo
wow.
of she's gone to sleep. Otherwise, I would have, because even I was a little. It's 9. It's almost 10 o'clock here, and even I was like, I hope I'm going to stay awake in this thing. But the conversation is interesting. But my sister sent me the screenshots, the photos of a few pages, because we were talking about something. Then Neelam suggested. I mean, I didn't mention this to you, Neelam, but Didi suggested this too. And I told her that, I forgot my copy. I hope you have yours. So she's like, yeah, yeah, I have. It's next to my bedside. And I just took it from her. And this all content is coming together. So
It was all destined.
it was destined. And, it just joins
Yeah.
the dots. Like you said, Naina, the podcast which we shared on Unicorn University, it's all coming together. So yeah,
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
go ahead with it. I get very passionate
Ah,
sometimes about things, and
yeah, absolutely. That's why I'm so keen to, join this. I was like, give me
Thank you so
3 बजे
much.
join करियो 7 बजे, whatever time.
yeah,
Earlier it was 6. I said, 6 o'clock I have this.
yeah.
So one very strange thing, happened this month. Uh, on my birthday, my dad wished me, and he obviously didn't know I'm reading this or whatever. And we met after that. I was carrying the book next week after Diwali. I was carrying the book, and when we met, but that time he didn't know. So he just told me, "Acha, happy birthday, this, that," and then he's telling me, "Thank you for choosing us as your parents in this life." I was like,
Wow,
"Wait, are you reading this book?"
wow,
like, "Papa को कैसे
wow.
मालूम?" So that was like, "अरे,
Everything is
how are
connected, as
you thinking the
Ashwini said.
same thing
Wow.
that, sorry, Neelam?"
Sorry, you were
Everything is
saying?
connected, as Ashwini said.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that was like, and then, things like, I have not gone into any of the exercises yet. That's at the end of the
Correct,
book, right?
correct. Yeah.
But ऐसे सोचो calmly, when you just relax. So many deja vu moments come in to memory, like, the deja vus that have happened throughout life. There have, obviously, everybody has had those deja vu moments. So that I start remembering that, हाँ ऐसा कभी feel हुआ था, वो kind of a, वो होता है ना जो deja vu thing.
Yeah.
So that has, I think, come into my mind. But one aspect of it is like, that past life regression is still something that I have a lot of fear of, strangely.
Hmm.
Maybe, towards the end of the book that might go, or I might be drawn to something else.
Should I tell you my practical experiences about past life regression?
Yes, yes,
So,
why not?
so uh, uh, I had I was very curious. I was, as I said, in 2008 I was drawn to this book, and my journey began somewhere around 2012 when I started awakening. Whatever that means. I mean, now I look back and say it had all started way before that, but officially I started exploring and reading content, and I met my teacher in 2013, and the whole journey began. And I was always very curious about past life regression. I also have a oracle card deck of past life regression, where people actually specifically come for past life readings. And I also give them readings with the card deck, and of course whatever, I mean, intuition. And we do something called as akashic records, and we also do past life regression as a part of Team Unicorn Inside. There is a colleague of mine who does that. I don't do it myself, but I do something which is called as Akashic Records reading, and I give oracle cards and all. So, past life regression has always been a very interesting and a we always have been curious about it, right? So I remember I asked my Reiki teacher in 2013 that is it possible to actually see past lives? And she said yes. And the same fear which you have, Naina, I'm a little bit still apprehensive about it. And I told her that I'm not fearful about it, but there is some kind of anxiety which I get about it. So she said, don't worry, because you have to do it when you're fully guided. Because I was also learning hypnosis with her at that time. Like I started learning hypnosis and hypnotherapy. And hypnotherapy is the route through which we go for past life regression. Like Dr. Weiss talks about it in detail, of course. So she always told me that you have to do it under the guidance of someone, and you will never, lose your mind, or you will, like, nothing wrong will happen because it's a very safe way and the person guides you in. Okay. And I was still curious. So when I learned Reiki level 2, okay, we had an exercise how we could access our past lives with Reiki. And I was so curious to do that. And I started doing that, and several attempts, and I started meditating on a problem and working on it. And certain things were revealed to me. At that moment, when the things were revealed, I did not realize it was a past life. For me, it was more like a vision. And then I spoke to my teacher, I connected to her, and she told me it was a past life. Now, what happens after that usually is a pattern breaks, okay, which is what I experienced, that I started breaking some patterns. So, long story short, since you said that, that's one thing which you are like still not, and of course, we all have a calling, and if and when you want to explore that thing in life, it will come to you. So, I always say, like, let everything take its time. But I have connected to the person, Bansuri, the person in our team who actually does past life regression therapy, and she does it beautifully. Neelam, I don't know if you've tried with Bansuri the past life regression.
No, no, I haven't tried with
You
her.
haven't tried, but I've tried a couple of times, and I tried for a few things, including the issues I had with my throat chakra. I couldn't speak up, and I couldn't, be open and blunt about things. And I also had some issues going on with my voice and all of that. And I got a lot of breakthroughs in that, and it really helped me heal. So one thing I've realized is, so it's past life regression is a beautiful, one of the most beautiful and one of the most healing things you can do. But make sure you do it with a teacher or a therapist who is very gentle on you. And again, not because she's a part of Team Unicorn, but when I connected to Mansuri and when we started speaking, I could connect to her energy, and it was very good. I've tried past life regression with many more teachers, and I think I've gone for paid past life regression sessions too. Some were good, some were okay, some were average. And what is the worst that can happen? Nothing will happen, which means you will stay where you are in life, but you don't go south, or you don't go, nothing happens bad. Like, there is no bad thing which happens after it. But
Hmm.
if you are a sensitive person, make sure that, you you take care of yourself and practice a lot of special care during that. Also, remember, observe. Dr. Weiss talks about it. Observe as a third person. If you
Yes.
are feeling
Yeah,
afraid, or he always talks about it.
apprehensive. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah, right.
so it's a beautiful thing. So, Naina, if you have any fear, just let that go. I'm not pushing you into
Yeah.
going for it, but whenever the time will come,
Yeah,
you will know it is.
obviously. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Totally agree on that thing. When the time is right, that time I'll get pulled into that.
Absolutely.
Like, a couple of more. One is I have a question, but before I come to that, I'll just share one more thing. Like,
Yeah.
suddenly, I think 2023 onwards, I used to always read fiction.
Hmm.
Those murder mysteries or romance
Hmm.
novels or whatever, but not always. I would say probably after CA. Like till then,
Correct.
we hardly have any time from the CA books.
Correct.
Same
So
here.
after that, I
We have one more chartered accountant. Both of you are, and I
yeah,
think if
I
my sister,
remember when we read Gabby's book. I remember Neelam is also a
yeah,
CA.
and I, right now in my house I have two chartered accountants. So my sister is
Yes.
gone to sleep. Otherwise, I would have told her just join. So this would be a chartered accountant's call then.
Yeah. So I used to only read fiction, like till probably last year. And whenever I used to attempt reading any kind of, book like this, something on self-development or spiritual or whatever, I never could complete it. And
Hmm.
suddenly this year, all that I've been, not all, but I've read a few mysteries in between.
Yeah.
But most of what I have been able to read, all of a sudden, there's this shift, this year
Yep.
is these kind of books. Lot of these kind of books. So there was Gabby's, plus I mentioned, the whole string that I've purchased this year.
Yeah.
And there's been this, I don't know what kind of shift. If we probably read into my astrology or some kind of thing, we might be able to find out why. But
Absolutely.
there's
No,
no need to find out why. It's a good shift.
and
I've
there is
also
also one
changed
more
my
reason.
house.
The earth is
Mhm.
changing her vibrations now, and we are, as a
Yes,
collective, we all are ascending. So,
towards
Mhm.
5D.
yes, so by 2032, Dinah Cooper, one of the very great spiritual teachers, she's written an entire book on that, The Golden Future, in which she says that by 2032, we all will have moved to that frequency. So, it's not
Mhm.
surprising that nowadays we see every third reel, I see someone blowing cinnamon, so someone putting a Reiki symbol, someone pulling an angel card. And when I started in 2012, there was nothing. There were no teachers in India.
Yeah,
Like I found my teacher and I was like, oh my God, thank God we have teachers in India. Otherwise, कहीं बाहर जाके पढ़ना पड़ता था, angel therapy and like
right, right,
even
right.
Reiki and all. So
Yeah, and just like you, I have probably two, three more close friends who are into healing, friends,
exactly,
relatives. It's becoming, very common. But that was
because
like
that's the
a
future,
wonderful shift.
and that's the
Yeah,
future
and
of our
along,
world now.
yeah. And the other thing I have, as a question is, how do I understand whether a problem is rooted in my current life behavior or my past life problem? वो कैसे
Okay,
समझेगा कि चलो I
okay,
have an issue with probably speaking up or constantly getting into, say, you know whatever, that speaking up issue is always there with the thyroid thing. The root is that you don't speak up.
correct,
So
correct.
is that a current life issue or a past life carry forward? How
Okay,
do I even figure that out ever?
okay.
That's
Can
just
I
a
share
simple
my
example.
my personal experience with this? Yeah. So we always, when we work with individuals in our coaching or any kind of sessions, we say that there are two things. Okay, so first we work through, so everything is subconscious. Okay, and whether it is a past life thing or whether it is a current life thing, it is subconscious. Also, why things are happening in current life also might have a past life impact. Okay, so if you are likely to have this problem in this life, there could be a childhood issue, but there could also be something which is rooted in past life. That is why it is coming back to you. Okay.
Very
And I always see that when people come first, we work with the inner child, and because there are patterns. Typically, there are patterns, and you come to know when you're talking to the client in the first 15-20 minutes, you'll come to know that, okay, this is the pattern which the person has been going through. We work through the childhood and everything. And sometimes, I will say that most of the times, even the childhood problem is connected to the past life. So if you ask me, is it this life or is it past life? I will say it is both. Now, the catch is whether the resolution happens from an inner child healing work or the resolution happens from the past life is totally depending on you. But whenever you break it at one level, sometimes we break it at the inner child. Um, and when we work with clients, we always say across time, space, dimension, across lifetimes, past, present, future. So what you're doing is you're not just negating it in if something happened in childhood. Say you were in school and you were speaking up and a teacher just shouted at you in front of the whole class. And as a child, you were terrified. And somewhere subconsciously, you made a decision that it is not safe to speak with in front of people. Okay, you may not even remember this, but you make that subconscious decision as a child, and because of that as a child, you didn't speak up and you took it ahead in life, and that became your nature. Okay, we also call it nature. That became a part of your belief system. So if we realize this, and sometimes in the inner child healing session, a client comes up with this thing, and we say that, oh, they come up with a memory, it happened in childhood somewhere, and we say that now we choose to break this pattern across times, space, dimension, across lifetimes. Very likely that you are also breaking the root cause of it, which is in the previous life. Okay, now even when we do Reiki for situations, for people who are going through situations, and as I said, in Reiki level 2, we learn about how to give Reiki to your past life issues too. And it's really interesting, and it really works because, again, all energy modalities, they go beyond time space, they go beyond lifetime. So we say that may this be healed at a root cause. And sometimes just with the healing, with just the energy work, why does it work, and why do we say that even issues which are complicated, why do they work with Reiki? Because sometimes something might have happened in the previous lifetime which you have dissolved from the root cause. Okay, so if your question is, maybe is it this birth, or maybe it is last birth, or maybe it is both, because if it's a pattern, it will happen. If it's troubling you, it's a pattern. If it's a pattern, it's happening since childhood. Why did it happen in childhood? Probably in some of the lifetimes it happened. And many times these are also lessons we undertake, right? Like Dr. Weiss talks about it. There are lessons we undertake in order to grow. Like, like,
Yeah, that's like a wonderful thing. Like that's very heartening to know. कि अगर चलो, say my kid is throwing tantrums.
yeah,
Probably I need to go through that to, you know, get something better in me. That's like a
absolutely.
very vague, simplistic thing. But
Absolutely.
that was like a big, revealer there in the book. That whatever you're choosing your whole journey of this
Yes.
life.
You
Yes,
choose
That's
your parents, you choose
interesting.
your partner, you choose everything in your life.
you
And
do.
when you accept that, everything becomes easier. You accept people in your life. Otherwise, we always think, why this person is there in my life? What the hell I have done with this person?
Yeah,
When you know that,
exactly.
you've chosen that person is part of your life, your journey, and whenever that karma will be over, the person will be gone out from your life.
Yeah.
So that's
Hmm,
one of the most heartening and calming thing, as you mentioned, Naina. Thank you.
exactly.
And thank you
Yeah,
for
yeah, that
adding
was
that,
there,
Neha.
and that actually correlates a lot with our Indian astrology. Like this book is
Yeah.
from a
Yes,
foreign author, but everything
yes.
in our Indian,
Astrological.
spirituality or our thing is like so connected here.
We were the birthplace of everything, basically, and a lot of these teachers have studied in India.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
but unfortunately, a lot of our literature was lost when we had foreign invasions, and a lot of, because we didn't have enough information to support, um, people started calling it superstitions.
Yes.
But imagine, half the books were burnt. Nalanda was burnt so many times. Takshashila was burnt. It was a reservoir of knowledge, of wisdom. And also, most of the knowledge was passed from word of mouth. Like, I think in the Beer Biceps podcast too, I don't remember which, because I heard, I think, 5 podcasts this week. And I was, so I don't remember, because there was a point of time I was feeling it was too much, and I decided to take a break. So they said that most of information was given by word of mouth.
yeah, yeah. I think one of those, I also heard that one. I've also been hearing back to back.
I know.
So that probably that guy was asking that, is this the right medium of transfer of
Yes,
knowledge?
yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
So, he said, yes, why not? Because this is how the ancient knowledge was always transferred.
Absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. And I think even the discussion we are having right now is full of wisdom, I'm sure, because sometimes I think this concept of satsang, for the longest time, I did not really realize satsang, because I would believe that satsang is something which both dadi nani go for some kind of bhajan and some kind of function. But what's the root cause, root of the word satsang? Sat is anything which
Good.
is good, and Sang is Sangat, means
Yeah.
companionship. Now, Satsang, even Yoga Vasishta talks about Satsang, that is, when you are with people who have wisdom, who are on the same frequency, who have wisdom to share, the conversations are very different and the conversations are healing. And Kaizin, one of our core team members, suggested that Ashwini, all the talks which we have on even in our group discussions, why can't we put it out and share with the people? Because you never know who watches that and who heals just through that. And I think even this talk which we are having right now is like, we have not actually read pages of the books, but there is so much which we three have shared over the last, what, 45 minutes. I think it's just phenomenal, and I think there is so much which we can even look back at these videos and feel that, wow, we really had a good discussion. So I think satsang is important because like I said, Neelam suggested this book and you said, okay, I would like to buy this book, and we want this community to grow.
So
That
it's
this
a
is
network kind of a thing.
it's a network, yeah.
It's growing.
And we really feel that the more people we reach, more wisdom we can share. Now, you speak about something which I always say, that even when I'm taking a class, I remember I was once taking a Reiki class and a very senior person had come for the class. He was around 55, 56 years of age. And he found information about me from, I think, one of the talks which I had on Health Forum. And he had come to learn from me, but I ended up learning more from him because he kept sharing so many things about Ayurveda, about yoga, and I was stunned. I was like, "Sir, you know so much." He was like, "But मैंने मुझे रेकी नहीं सीखने को मिला आपसे मैंने रेकी सीखी है तो it's definitely it's really." But this is what I'm saying. That is the importance of satsang, and I think that's the reason our we should have more of these, and we should have more people joining in who can share, like today with Naina's perspective, because Neelam, you and I, we keep talking about it, we keep sharing, but it's nice to have Naina, your energy and presence today, because
Yes.
it just changes
Thank you
the
so
whole.
much.
Yes, thank you
And
so
It
Anna,
feels
I
much.
was
wonderful because
coming to you only because I wanted to know what is your favorite chapter, or what is your favorite page on the book. Would you like to read it?
Yes.
I don't know, honestly. The whole book is so amazing. Like every page I read gets better and
Yeah.
better. But the first two or three chapters, like, were the best. I would say. When the
Uh-huh.
he explains one of those, or rather, every example of past life regression that he shared. I like the ones with the mediums also, where he explains the mediums and psychics. That's
Yeah,
Yeah.
something that stayed with me because he says
That's
everybody
chapter
has that
12.
power.
yes, yes,
Hmm.
yes. And I
Everybody
think
can be that.
that is, I think, chapter 11 made he's spoken about teachers and
Yes.
psychics and
Yeah,
mediums.
teachers is like, that nice part where he says, I have the book, but
He says
I'm
in
just
one of the
telling from
lines that
memory.
you have to become Sai Baba. You don't have to follow him. Become Sai Baba
Yes,
itself. So
you
that
don't
was
need a
very
guru
strong.
necessarily.
Yes.
Yeah, like you don't have to search outside. You can just search within you. Like that's
Absolutely.
a takeaway, I would say. But yeah,
Brilliant. Just
those two,
beautiful.
three
And
aspects are nice.
I think this book was very much ahead of its time, don't you think?
Yeah.
Because
It is.
he speaks about healers in chapter 10, and I
Yeah.
was blown away because I don't remember reading anything about healers in 2008 or about teachers. I remember reading everything, but I
Yeah.
don't
And I think
remember
this book
these two
was
things.
published in 1990s, I think. It was
Exactly. So
published
it
in
was way
19.
ahead of its time, right?
Yes.
And when I was reading this book, I never thought I will become a healer. Ever I ever thought. I mean, I was not even planning to become a healer or do anything. Nor I knew that this was something, even an option available for someone to do for a living. But I think he's explained that very well about um, all the concepts of healing. He's spoken about teachers. He's spoken about psychics and mediums, and then he's also speaking about the extraordinary messages. So I think that is my that part is quite my favorite in that book. So Naina, you could just, if you want to read anything out, or Neelam, you want to read anything out, we could do that.
Yeah, I think one more part that stands out, or rather, the fact that he himself is a doctor,
Yep.
MD,
Yes.
that is something that makes it all the more convincing, I would say.
Absolutely.
Going through that skepticism and then overcoming that and then becoming an advocate. That's, I think, the best part of this. And
Yes.
what Neelam also mentioned, that the purpose of your life is love. That is like, very calming thing.
Yes. Beautiful.
And Nana, I would like to mention that your energies are also very calming and loving. I mean, you
Yes.
you
वो सिर्फ
display those
लगता है.
energies while you speak.
That's only the display.
No, but Naina, I think this is your core nature. Now,
Yes.
there are two
You
things
always
about
tell me that.
yes. So,
Yeah.
this is your core nature. Now, sometimes we are reactive. Okay. And why do we react? Because of situations. But that may not be your core nature. Sometimes when life throws different situations at us, like people ask me, Ashwini, do you ever get angry? या तुम कभी गुस्सा नहीं करती हो? मैंने बोला मुझे आता है गुस्सा. मैं गुस्सा करती हूँ, मेरे आसपास के लोग डर जाते हैं, because but that's not my core nature. But sometimes when life throws things at you, you will react. We all are humans, we will react. So Naina, as far as I know, Naina, like, so Neelam, me and Naina are actually college friends. But
Oh, nice.
yeah, so we are college friends. We studied in the same college, in the same class, but we again met at Morgan Stanley from 2008 to 10. And since then we've been, we again
Wow.
reconnected, our friendship deepened. And the rest is history, I think. She's here. And so it's so I think, Naina, that's your core nature. That is what you truly are. And well said, Neelam, and well put out that she has that calm presence.
That's good. I'll keep connecting to that.
Yes.
I couldn't find it. Neelam, you had also shared on the group, I think in a voice note or something, that we shouldn't what let me try to get that accepting violence from anybody can never be a part of our karma. That is that
Yes.
person's choice, or that. So that is like such a revelation. Like, people always say कि हाँ ये तो मेरे कर्म में है, भोगना, all
Just
that
accept things like
crap.
that.
हाँ, accepting all the nonsense and emotional abuse, physical abuse, तो चलो, that is obvious, but emotional abuse that people accept, or getting used by their family members or whatever, that what people accept is not their karma. So that was something that hit me hard in terms of,
We
seeing
talk about
people saying that.
yes. So when Ashwini was talking about the experience of regression and going on these therapies, so I had one of those. I didn't mention at that point of time, but I had a bad experience. So one of the person, I won't name the person, she told me that because you know you lost your husband because it was in your karma, and you have been really bad in your past life, and now you have to bear that pain because this is something you have done really bad in your past. And I was so anxious, I was restless, I couldn't sleep for days, and I felt like she just victimized me, and I felt like a victim. And ऐसा नहीं लगता कि अब तो कुछ भी मैंने ये भी पूछा कि what can I do to change that reality. If that is a reality, then what can I do that to remove that from my life. But she said अब तो इसमें कुछ नहीं हो सकता, you have to bear like that, you have to live like that. And I was so devastated after that, and I immediately, so 2 3 days I was in a lot of pain. Then my dear friend Ashwini is there, so I connected with her. There is one more member in the group, her name is Namrata. I connected with her as well. Both of them calmed me down. Ashwini did a Akashic session with me, and then she did the kind of reading which which I related so much. And I she connected with Kamal on that session. I don't know how she got the energies of Kamal, because she's so pure. So Kamal connected with her. He specifically told her that, tell Neelam not to bother whatever she had listened to, and it's not true. Whatever, she has listened to is not true, and I'm always there. And that's how I came out of that devastating thing. Otherwise, I would have been like, ये क्या हो गया मेरे साथ? I was so much in pain. So ये होता है, और वो मुझे एक्सेप्ट करवा रही थी उस चीज को. She was saying कि because it is your karma, that's why it is happening to you, and all the physical, all the pain that I'm going through because he is no more. So वो तो मेरे को मेरा फल है, मैंने कुछ बहुत गलत किया है उसका, and I've not been good to people, and lot of
You know,
lot of
Neelam,
stuff.
So
Neelam,
bad.
and
Matlab,
Naina,
people
to
play
add
on
that,
fears.
they put fears, and I'm so grateful for the kind of teachers I have had who have always told me that कभी लाइफ में ऐसी सिचुएशन नहीं होती जिसमें आप कुछ नहीं कर पाए. Like Neelam rightly asked her, like, which is the philosophy which we use at Unicorn Insight. Even if there is something going terrible, we ask, okay, how can we change this? Okay,
Yeah.
and this is like really grateful to my teachers because they taught me that whenever a client is sitting in front of you, you have to always show them possibilities. Because a client comes in when they are in very dark place, and you can't say that ki हाँ ये तुम्हारी सजा है भुगतो. You will actually, people collapse when they hear things like that, right? But the truth is there is nothing like, matlab, yes, I'm not saying that karma and lessons are not real, but there is always a way to um, work through it, and there is always a possibility of getting beyond that. And rather than, I will say, like whenever a person passes, like Kamal was too young when he passed, but whenever it's with like my father, whenever I've connected with him, I've realized one thing, that it's their time to go, and we all come with two-way tickets, and we leave when it's our time to go, no matter what. Okay. And someone's when someone dies, we always look at it as something is very bad, कुछ बहुत बुरा हुआ है. But the truth is that person is continuing their journey in the spirit form. I mean, this is what the base of this book is. And also, in fact, I have seen, like, and this is also a quote in Harry Potter: do not pity the dead, pity the ones who are living, and those too who are living without love. And I never understood the meaning of that quote, like, until I lost my father. And I realized that it's very true because, I know he is at a very peaceful place right now. And I know there are people who are living on earth who may not be having a very good quality life, but we often feel that death is the end of it, which is not the case. Right. And not many spiritual readers, not many tarot readers, not many healers are equipped with the
Astrologers.
astrologers are equipped with the fact that they can, you can change something. Like, your question was very simple. Okay, all right, if this is what I'm facing, how can I change? And in access consciousness, we always say, how can we change? And we can change things, right? Of course, we can't bring back the person who is past because it was their journey, but we could make choices where we could choose to live in a more empowered way. And reading the books of Dr. Brian Weiss, I know the people who pass, they're just a thought away. They're just a thought away, and they always become our divine spiritual team. They operate from that space. And death is only the end of a physical body. The physical body perishes, but the soul will choose to live. And the soul will choose to learn lessons, whether you are living in the body, whether you are not living in the body, you will choose to learn lessons. And I think that's my takeaway from the book. I'm still to read a little end part of it is thoda pending, which I want to finish by this week.
Even the
But
meditations part is pending from my end
Yeah.
as well.
yes,
I have
yes,
to do all
Yeah,
those
yeah.
exercises.
You know,
But
one thing that
this
you
was
mentioned, Neelam, uh, when you intuitively feel it is not correct, that means it is not correct.
yes,
So that thing is also there in the book somewhere.
yes,
It's
yes,
you have
you
to
should
trust
trust
your
your gut.
intuition.
yes,
So
yes,
that
yes.
is one thing that is there. And around karma, what you mentioned, na, Ashwini, every book, everywhere you listen, they always say you till now what you have done, theek hai, that is your, you will reap that, but you can even minimize the impact of that. There are so many recently, as you said, a string of podcasts that I heard
Yes.
from different
Yeah.
schools of thought. Everybody is saying the same thing that
Yes.
now you can even minimize the impact of your past karma
Absolutely.
if you attain some certain level of knowledge or through meditation or whatever.
Absolutely.
तो
Absolutely.
ऐसा नहीं है कि भुगतना ही भुगतना है.
Bilkul.
That's a complete,
And
against
and
all the
and Naina,
spiritual
you
leaders out there, different schools of thought.
yes, you spoke about what your intuition says is right. We have an access consciousness tool which is heavy versus light, and which says that something which makes you feel heavy, which makes you feel restricted, disempowered, it's a lie. Anything which disempowers you is a lie. Even if the best astrologer tells you that this year is bad for you, but if you feel that's very heavy, it's a lie. So don't buy those lies. Okay, no matter who tells you what, don't buy the lies. Because when we buy the lies, we end up, when we make them significant and we buy those lies and then we make it a
Exactly.
real. But you have that inner compass within you. You know if it's feeling heavy, just to know that it's a lie and don't believe. Don't give energy to that. So trust that and trust yourself and your intuition, because you are the you are the biggest creator of your life, and nothing else can be better than you, because it is you who is creating it.
Yes. And when we talk about intuition, I
Yeah.
think our next month's book is also on the same subject, and it is also it's
Yes.
written by Sonia Shokit,
Chocolate.
and she is part of Mind Valley group, and I have seen a lot of podcasts between her and Vishen, and I just love her. And this is her book,
Yes.
and because we have come to this topic, so I would like to mention that the next month's book we are going to have is Trust Your Vibes.
Just your vibes. And what a beautiful end we are doing to this this video, where we speak about Dr. Weiss's book, Messages from the Masters, and Naina speaks about Trust Your Intuition. And smoothly, as if we have planned this, Neelam announces Book of the Month. So we are very excited. And Neelam, I had read the PDF version of the book many years ago, but I've lost that. So I think I'm going to now buy that book again because I want to read it now.
Well, I have ordered my copy.
You ordered
Hasn't
yours
reached
too.
to me yet.
Super. So,
Great, great.
yes,
Looking forward.
yes. So we are looking forward, and we look forward to have you on the next reading too. And feel free to share Nana on the group. It's an open group. I think we have
Oh,
made it
it's not
open.
open group. It's not
No,
open
it's
group.
a
It's
closed
not
one.
okay. Maybe
People
I'll
would have
open it.
shared more. Yeah. I've
But
been reading every day. I would have
I
shared.
know. No, no, but you can share. But sometimes, what happens is I shut it, I think, because it was Diwali time. Because every
Yeah.
group then sends Happy Diwali, and then you
Ah,
lose the whole essence of it. Or, sometimes people even send random good morning messages, and it just defeats the purpose of the group.
mhm.
So maybe otherwise, Naina,
Yeah.
if you want to share, we can also make you the admin then.
Yeah.
Because we know that relevant shares will happen, because
Mhm.
sometimes there are so many people on the group whom we are not aware of, and people don't do it intentionally. But sometimes that good morning, happy
Yeah.
Diwali, and sometimes even people want to send good messages, but they are not relevant to the content of that group,
Relevant. Yeah.
right?
Right,
So, but
right,
Naina, I
right.
think I'll make you an admin so that even you could share your thoughts on it.
Love
And
to hear
Sure,
from you
sure.
now.
thank
Great.
you for being part of this group. Thank you, Neelam, for your contribution this month. I was not able to contribute much, but I know, because like I always say that we co-created this, but I'm sure Neelam, the way she is sharing, it's just wonderful, and I'm really grateful to have you. And
I'm grateful to have you in my life so many times. You have just caught my hand and got me out of those
I think
difficult
that's
times.
what we are for each other, right? I think we all are soul family, and that's what we are for each other. And lots of love, and lots of love to you too, Naina. And
Yes.
looking forward to see you next month with
Yes.
the book. We will be sharing the book on everywhere. We'll be flashing it. So I think I am more doing
Sure.
social media work, and Neelam is doing the content work. We are doing that. So I think I will make sure that because मेरे में एक बार वो भूत आ जाता है social media पे सब flash करने का. I will be flashing the book of the month. And December, it's
Hmm.
Christmas time, and it's almost the end of the year now. So looking forward to that, and hopefully once I'm in Bombay, we can have an in-person meet sometime Jan or February. So we could
Very
maybe plan that.
definitely. I was just about to say that.
Yes. Yes. So, I'm even talking to a few bookstores to if they can host us. So just give me some time to figure that out. And we could maybe do something of that sort.
Very good.
Wonderful.
Thank you. And maybe sometime
Neelam
we
will
can
have
travel
to
to
fly
Delhi.
down for us.
Yes, and we can maybe sometime just fly down to Delhi, and we can do a Delhi ke koi अच्छे से book shop में we can Neelam can probably
We have a
host us.
reader cafe right next to my place, and it's amazing.
Oh,
Oh wow,
wow.
wow. Let's do that.
Wonderful.
And thank you very much. Unless you both want to share something and conclude, do we conclude this call? We are done.
Yes, we should conclude now. I just wanted to thank you and thank you, Nana, as well, because both of you have made this call really, really insightful, wonderful, and it touched my heart. Nana, love you. Thank you.
Lots of
Thank you
love.
so
Thank
much.
you. See you.
Thank you.
Bye
See
bye,
you.
girls.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye, Shuni. Good night.
Good night. Bye.